Welcome to Mobile Car Mechanic. Today we're going to be replacing the high pressure fuel pump on this 2013 Honda Accord. There is a TSB for, I believe, the earlier years of the, I believe is the 9th generation Accord. This will apply for 2013 all the way to 2017, but I believe the part numbers are different for the 2013 and 2014 models. We ended up buying the part from Honda Parts now. This is a high pressure fuel pump. So I'm going to go ahead and replace that. And this is a LX model, so pretty much all the engines are the same. So it's going to be very much the same through the EX, LX, the Sport, all that good stuff. So only for the 4 cylinders, of course. So let's get to it. Alright, parts and tools needed are going to be the high pressure fuel pump itself, a ratchet, whether it's cordless or a hand tool, a torque wrench, various size sockets, so 10, 12, 8, and a 6mm hex. In my case, I'm just going to use a T40. You may get lucky like I did. And some needle nose pliers, a pick, a 17mm wrench, and potentially a hammer. And of course, various extensions. All right, so the high pressure fuel pump is going to be under this cover right here. So all you have to do is just literally lift it up. It's actually secured in place. There's rubber grommets that should be in here and in here. It looks like whoever was in here before didn't put them in, and this one just didn't come out. It'll fight you a little bit, but it's not too difficult. So the high pressure fuel pump is actually right here. So our main objective here is to remove this connector, the fuel line, the high pressure fuel line, I believe, and then there's a in-tank pump line that goes to the bottom, which we'll go ahead and show you later. But what we're going to go ahead and focus on is getting rid of the air box so we can get this tubing out of the way to give us a little bit more room. Also, you're going to need to remove this cover. It's also like the top cover, basically held in with grommets. So just push it or pull it. Okay. Once you have it out, just go ahead and set that to the side. You'll see that you're going to have 2 6mm Allens. So right here and right here. I couldn't really find one, so I ended up using a T40 Torx. You may or may not be able to get away with that. These are pretty tight. They're torqued at 18 foot-pounds. And more than likely, the heat cycles probably are going to make it a little bit tougher to get out. So I'd definitely recommend using a 6mm Allen key or socket bit. So let's go ahead and get rid of the intake hose, so that we can go ahead and make a little bit more room for us, because we're going to have to remove this bracket here too. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and unhook the mass airflow sensor. So just push down this tab and then just pull out. Of course, you have the little wings, little connector flip. Let's go ahead and squeeze them in and then just pull it out. Put that to the side. Now we're going to go ahead and tackle this 8mm. Alright, so we're going to have an 8mm here. And then we're going to have one down here in the throttle body. So we're going to go ahead and knock those out. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and take the clamps on the airbox and loosen them up. So we got another one sneaky over here. I'm going to go ahead and lift up the box towards like us this way so that it breaks this apart and it loosens it out of there. So we are going to have to loosen up that clamp right there. So we're going to get some pliers. All right, once you get your pliers, just go ahead and do that. And if you're lucky, you can just pull it out. All right, we got lucky. Now we're gonna go ahead and get this out of the way. I'm gonna try to twist it if I can. All right, now that we have that out of the way, it gives us access to this bracket bolt here. And then there's another one hidden under here. I tried to see if I could pull that off. I unfortunately snapped it. It's a wing connector. So what we're gonna go ahead and do is just loosen this, and loosen the one under here. They're all 12 millimeters. All right, we're gonna go ahead and break this one loose first. It's gonna be a long one, so we're gonna go ahead and put it here in the cowl. I'm gonna go ahead and try to get this one, and then we're gonna figure out how to try to get the one under this bracket. This wire harness does have a little clip, so we'll see if we make some room by pulling that out. Make sure you drop it like I just did. And it's right all the way down here. So I gotta get my fancy magnet. All right, so what we're gonna do here is, because there is a 12 millimeter bolt over there, this wire harness gets in the way. So we're gonna go ahead and loosen this guy out. Looks like this is broken. And there's a little tab over here. So we wanna go ahead and pull that back. So I'll push it down and then pull towards you. Easier with two hands. All right, now that we have it loosened up, we're gonna go ahead and lift it on top of the bracket here. And that should give us room now to see that bolt. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to fit a short 12 in there. All right, now that we got our 12 in there, we're just gonna go ahead and crack it loose. Let that piece that just decided to go ahead and break off anyways, break off. And then we are going to try to get the bolt out now. It's loose enough. I just gotta get my socket in there, and I'm gonna go ahead and twist it by hand. All right, so in order to give myself more room, I think what I'm gonna end up doing is just unplugging this connector to the ECU. There is a little tab here. Just gonna go ahead and push it down, and you should see it swing, and the connector should come out. Obviously be careful not to damage the pins in there. So should have more room to go ahead and get a nice deep 12 in there. All right, after we got it loose, we're just gonna pull it out. It's a short bolt. Now we should be able to go ahead and remove this bracket here. So let's see here. We got those stupid little wing connectors in there. So we're gonna go ahead and use our needle nose pliers or a flathead screwdriver to go ahead and pinch those out so we can go ahead and get this removed. All right, let's go ahead and squeeze this one in. You may or may not be able to get it either. I'm having difficulty. There we go. Got that one out. Since I broke the other one, it's right here. We'd go ahead and squeeze these out too. But since it's already broken, I'm not going to bother with it. And it appears that there is a clamp over here for one of the, I'm assuming, coolant hoses that go to the block here. So I'm just going to go ahead and push these out if we can. These are not too difficult to deal with. It is if you have only one hand to use, but I'll go ahead and pop the bottom one out too if we can. If not, then I think we should be okay without having to take it all the way out. All right. So as you can see, those just route the coolant hoses in place. So we got those out. And again, if you want to see from the back, this is clip 1, clip 2. Just remember to squeeze these little wings and you'll get the wire harness loose. Just like that. Not like this one. And it's not the end of the world. You'll be all right. All right. Now, we got to get the, I believe it's the purge valve. So we're going to go ahead and take these out. So a 10 millimeter here. And then there's a 10 millimeter right down there. I'm pointing with it with another bolt. That one right there. So I'm going to go ahead and get those. Okay, what I like to do is always tackle the bottom one because that's always the most difficult. So remember it's down here. I'm going to go ahead and knock that one out first. Just going to use a 10 mil. Possibly. Looks like there's a stupid, this hard line in the way is the problem. So let's see if I can get that. I'm just going to push the metal line a little bit. Alright, that's one. We're going to go get to the top one. This metal line just happens to be conveniently in the wrong place. So we're going to go ahead and get our wrench adjusted. You just got to finagle it. And it is hard again with one hand. Alright, so okay, make sure you don't drop the bolt. Got that out of the way. Now we're gonna go ahead and just tuck this somewhere that is not in the way, because now we want to make room for the back of the pump here. Now, of course, this stupid bracket is in the way. You can just turn it. Now, there is a little clamp, a little connector, like this prevents it from backing out the fuel line. So we're gonna go ahead and, our objective is to pull it this way. So you pull it out and then it exposes. If you did it right. Yeah, stupid. Okay, so just make sure you don't drop it like I did. But basically, you're gonna swing it out this way and then you're gonna try to get it pointed kind of upward, because then you can get it off the metal line here. So I'll kind of see if I can show you again. So the way that this works is we pull it out like this. It makes it horizontal, and then this piece becomes parallel with the I don't know if parallel is the word, but it becomes the same direction as the fuel line, and then you just drop it out that way. All right, so on the fuel line there's going to be these white tabs. You're going to squeeze these in and then you're going to pull the fuel line towards the firewall. I'll see if I can get it on camera. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to squeeze both sides here, these little tabs. Might be hard to see on camera, but basically we're going to squeeze them in, and then we should be able to pull this out. But it's kind of a tight area, and it's just extremely difficult just because it can be. It might help to have a screwdriver, but once you squeeze it in, which is what you're doing here, you can pull this out. So we got that out of the way. We're gonna have to transfer this white piece to the new fuel pump. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and take this hard line. It's a 17 millimeter. Let's see if I can do it by hand. Might need a hammer, we'll see. And yeah, just be careful. This is the high pressure fuel pump, so you gotta be careful with the fuel coming out, because it is a higher pressure and could blind you if you're not wearing safety glasses or being precautious. So it's just gonna come down like that. We're not replacing this line. I've heard this is something that should be replaced and would require removal of the intake manifold. We're not doing that. And apparently the part is on back, like they don't make it anymore. So we're going to go ahead and continue to use this part. I don't see that being an issue. I've done this on my GTI as well. Never had a problem with reusing hard lines. So now we're going to go ahead and disconnect this electrical connector. I believe we have to push on this inner tab here. I'm going to go ahead and maybe try this. It helps if you have fingernails. If you don't, just use a screwdriver. All right, one thing to be aware of. Unfortunately, I made a mistake here. It's not a big deal. There are two sides to this thing. And you have to get a flathead to push this out and space it out. And then you got I guess a pick, which is what I just tried to do to get the other portion to come out. And unfortunately, I ended up breaking it, but I think it broke because of the fact that I was only expecting one connector. It's not the end of the world. These can always be replaced. You can repin these if you need to. But we're just going to go ahead and continue on. Next thing you know, next thing we have to do is we're going to go ahead and remove these 6mm hex Allen keys, okay? Or these Allen bolts. So let's go ahead and knock those out. All right, we're going to go ahead and crack these loose. These are going to be really tight, so just be aware of that. I'm using a T40. Okay. Just know that this is going to be under a lot of a high tension, just due to the fact that also you have to fight the spring that's going to be on the end of the high pressure fuel pump. I'm going to go ahead and get the other one right here. If you use a T40, just know that this is just going to get stuck in the bolt. That's just the way it is because it's not 100% hex. All right, just going to go ahead and unhook this or get the bolt out. Now we're going to go ahead and try to see if we can wiggle this out. I'll try to. Okay. Let's see if I can pull it out from the top here. Oh, never mind. This is going to be you just got to twist it around until you can get the bottom portion of the pump off. Now we're going to go ahead and swap it out with this part. This is a Honda factory part. They do sell Amazon replacements. I'm not sure how good they are. I mean, the Denso one here, that's original, has lasted like, I think this car has like almost 300,000 miles on it. So we're going to go ahead and with the original Denso unit. Let's go ahead and put this in. We'll swap it in. Now, before we go ahead and swap to the new pump, we have to take this piece off and apply it onto the pump right here. These little tabs here, these are what are keeping it in place. I'm going to go ahead and use a pick. I'll have to probably do this off camera, but basically we just want to get past that little bump over there. So as long as we can use a screwdriver or anything like that, but we just need to get the we got to spread the locking piece outward. All right, so our main objective was to get this piece off. As you can see, the little arrow looking pieces have to be spread outward so that you can get it off this little barb here. So all we have to do now is just push it in place on the other unit. All right, it's gonna be super simple. All you gotta do is just push it towards this. That's it. I'm gonna go ahead and put the pump onto the vehicle. All right, be aware that you obviously have the bottom end of the line on the high pressure fuel pump. Also, it'd probably help to take this off too while we're here. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of work our way in there. Just like that. Now you are probably gonna, depending on the position of the engine, apparently you're supposed to have this at TDC on cylinder 1, and then you're supposed to go like 105 degrees or something on the crankshaft to make it easier. I think we just got lucky in the position of where the camshaft is. So we're gonna go ahead and try to line this up with this. Let's make sure this doesn't get lodged in there somehow. All right, because then you're gonna hate yourself. So put that there. We're gonna go ahead and try to get this aligned, and then these should align. We're gonna go ahead and bolt it down. All right, we're gonna go ahead and insert the bolts, and we're gonna screw it down slowly on each side so that the pump evenly slides in. Okay. Okay, it's going in partially on this side. I'm gonna go ahead and do the same for this. We're gonna go ahead and torque these later, but these are torqued down to 18 foot-pounds. All right, just gonna go ahead and torque it down. All right, so now we have the line lined up. It will line up once you actually have the high pressure fuel pump actually bolted down. So now we're just gonna go ahead and turn this, and we'll tighten it with a wrench. I don't actually have the torque specs on this. I'll probably try to include it in the video description, but as long as you don't over tighten it and it's not too loose, you will not have a problem. All right, just gonna give it a little crank down. That should do it. We're gonna go ahead and put the low pressure fuel connector in there. Make sure that the tabs line up with the holes here. So as you can see, there's openings on the side of that connector. We just have to match the tabs onto that. And then once we do, we're gonna push it until we hear it click. All right, good stuff. Now we're gonna go ahead and put this little connector securing piece here. So you're gonna go in like this, turn it outward, and then you're gonna clamp it. So let's see if we can do it without dropping it. All right. So I got that there. Kind of gotta find the spot here. And then we're just gonna go ahead and push it until it clamps in. That's it. Now, let's go ahead and put the connector in. Again, remember we just broke that, but it's not gonna be a big deal as long as this side clicks in. All right, it is secure now. Let's go ahead and bolt on the purge valve. Just go ahead and turn it until it matches up to the block here. I'll put the top screw in there so that it holds it in place. That should be decent enough. I'm gonna go ahead and use my electric ratchet because it just makes life so much easier. Now let's see if we can get the bottom one to match up. Remember, if you go in blind, it's always difficult to get these things to match up. Okay, so I have it threaded in. Let's go ahead and get those screwed down. So this one and that one right there. Okay, remember you're fighting this hard line, so you gotta kind of push against it. All right, those are in place now. Let's go ahead and get that bracket in there. All right, remember the bracket has these two hose holders, whatever. We're gonna go ahead and put it, the bottom one goes on this and the top one goes on there. So we're just gonna go ahead and move that to the side there. And then we're gonna go ahead and just push these on there. Shouldn't be terribly difficult, but you know, things happen. Okay, and then we're gonna go ahead and route the second one in there. Just looking at the witness marks here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get these under first. Just don't be too aggressive with it, otherwise you'll probably break it. The wire harness is going to try to get into one of the spots there. So that's what you're fighting here at this point. Okay, just want to get the bracket somewhat lined up. And then actually it'd probably be a little bit easier to do it this way. I think I was doing it the hard way. So I'll just put the top one in first, just because it's blocking the bottom one. And then the bottom one should just slide right in. Okay, cool. Now let's go ahead and get the bolts in. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get that threaded in by hand. Okay. And then there is another bolt somewhere. Let me go ahead and find that. Okay. We're gonna go ahead and try to tackle this one right here. The one that was kind of difficult to see. I'm gonna try to thread it in by hand. Now we're gonna go ahead and put this one on. I'll tighten this one first because it's the pain in the butt one. If you're lucky like me, your wrench will turn the opposite direction when it's tightening. So I'll probably just go ahead and tighten this one first and deal with that one by hand. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and torque these to 18 foot-pounds as well. Okay, let's get that done. Go ahead and clip this bad boy in there. And then we're gonna go ahead and slide this I'm gonna go ahead and slide this guy onto this bracket right here. Okay, once that's clipped in, let's go ahead and put the boot on. So what you want to do is you want to go ahead and line up this little tab here to the little notch there. This is going to get the orientation of this to be proper so that it matches up with this hard line and the top of the air box. So let's go ahead and get that in place. You'll probably have to mess with it and twist it and turn it. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get that out of the way, and we're going to put the clamp on top of that. If we can do it with one hand. Couldn't do it with one hand, so here we are. Put it up there. I'm just gonna go ahead and push this in place until it goes in as best as it can, and then we'll go ahead and tighten up. Your clamp should be tight. It shouldn't come out. We'll go ahead and tackle this 8mm bolt to go ahead and get it tightened onto the throttle body. Don't go overboard on that. Got that in place. Now let's go ahead and put the top of the airbox in. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and put the airbox top into place. I'm gonna go ahead and try to like somewhat get it started, because what we wanna do is we wanna get these tabs in place for the airbox, the top of the airbox. And this is gonna create like an angle where we can just go ahead and push down on it and squeeze on it at the same time. I'm gonna go ahead and tighten up the clamp here first, and then we can go ahead and tighten up, we can go ahead and button up some connections. Okay, that's on there tight. Let's go ahead and get these clamps in place. Okay, get the connector for the mass airflow sensor clicked in. Click it in here. And remember, don't forget this, because I removed the end connector, one of the connectors to the ECU. Make sure that you reconnect it, otherwise you might not be able to start your car. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and put the cover on here. Little side cover. Make sure you line it up with the grommets. Push it in. Get that line down here because of the fact that this stupid thing is broken. Okay. Let's go ahead and get that pushed in there. All right, after you fought with it, just gonna go ahead and put the high pressure fuel pump cover on there. I'm gonna go ahead and crank this thing. All right, let's go ahead and start it up. All right, because we relieved pressure on the fuel system, it may take a little bit, it might be an extended crank. All right, we'll go ahead and let the car run for about 30 seconds here, and then we'll go ahead and gas it. And that completes the repair. All right, thank you for watching Mobile Car Mechanic. Today we just showed you how to replace the high pressure fuel pump on this 2013 Honda Accord LX. This is gonna apply for all the 4 cylinders that are in the 2013 to 2017 model range. Thanks for watching, and see you on the next one.